Keiichi-kun! Good morning! Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Oh, oops, that was Keiichi. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust, without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Reina had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Reina seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Lena. No matter how long. Forever? Lena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Lena? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered that she was interested in them, but she was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably pass out. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine just to be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Lena? Or was it your mom? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Lena, or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? I hate how this kind of repeats. Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Reina nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Lena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Lena. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as how she'd just keep spacing out otherwise, I called Lena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Lena Liugu. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize that it's not just her name that's strange. Mi-chan, ohayo! Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. Ah, finally. You two are late. Usually you're the one who's late. Not sure who's talking again. In sharp contrast to the diligent Lena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Lena. And it's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze started at my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet. So be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh air, morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Lena began to ramble in a near panic. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Lena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it? Seeing the city again. Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting a pleasant morning. I only went to a funeral. I didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look for it? That thing I asked for. You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games, Michan? Mio nodded proudly as Lena giggled. Yep, I wanted Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see? Westport was short for Western imported games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, I guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Lena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you'd think I'd understand, let me play too. That was Lena talking, wasn't it? I'm getting who's talking so mixed up right now. Of course. If Kei-chan is up for it. I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa, then we'll let you in the group this time, I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Lena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Lena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it should probably be about the right for this place. Oh my gosh, I can't read. Hinamizawa was a really small village. Not only was there one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages. There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago there used to be a bigger school building, and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems that something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I have already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt like more of a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until then, suddenly let me take the lead. Right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Heh. Too bad. I wasn't going to fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mion chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face.
What is it, you guys?
Step back, Lena. It's dangerous. She's here.
Huh? Then Satoko-chan is...
Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, and bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap. A blackboard eraser wedged in the door. It's too obvious, Satoko. A haughty laugh came from behind the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess this means you win this round? No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main one, traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine, and the list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser that loaded with rocks on my first day. So then why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after. Making me focus my attention upward. So as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door, handle with tape. There were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape. A frightening trap. A potent and terrifying trap. Concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko. But in the end, nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange at my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me, hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner. Kei-chan, watch out! Instinctively reacting to my own shrill warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor. Ow, ow, ow! An inkstone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered, trying to imagine the situation. I had landed square on it.
My, what do we have here? A fair morning to see you, Keiichi-san. Aren't we a lively one this morning?
Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual traps, Satoko.
I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning.
You little... Ow, ow, ow! It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my back a little when I'd landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. A small hand gently rubbed my head.
Pain, go away.
The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head.
You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears.
I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts.